Hi guys, I'm Chip Under here and welcome back. So the Lions tour is done and dusted. That's it. It's been the end of a very long 6 weeks for them. Anyone who knows the title to the intro song may have a little bit of a hint to one or two of the All Blacks fans that are out there. That I think overall it's a great way to end what was a really competitive, a really tough series. It was just brilliant. Sam Wilton came out and said a draw was a bit of an anticlimax. I don't think so. I think it's a pretty good way to end it, to be fair. What we're going to do in this episode, we're just going to talk a little bit about the game, some of the sort of the bigger talking points about it, some of the players who stood out maybe for some good reasons and maybe not so good reasons. What now for the Lions and what next mainly for the All Blacks. We've been the other guys that are going to be up and running in the Rugby Championship later on in the year. So, just going into the game, I had to watch it twice because the first time I watched it was a bit disturbed. And apologies for this video not coming out a little bit earlier. I've just had a lot on last night and today as well. First 15 minutes of this game, what a start. I mean, both teams were at it. They were going for it. To start off with, let's start off with probably the biggest talking point of the game. I mean, it tends to be one now features these games. Last week it was Sonny Bill. This week it was the accidental offside. I think as a 78th minute, Ken Owens caught the ball, went forwards off a kickoff. I think technically the referees got it right. I can see how the All Blacks might have, and the New Zealand public might have felt a bit hard done by, because 9 times out of 10 these are penalties that are given, not scrums for accidental offside. Even though the All Blacks fans, rightly or wrongly, are calling poor decision, that kind of thing. I've read a lot of reports and I've trawled Facebook having a look for this kind of stuff, and rightly or wrongly, the All Blacks missed 2 clear-cut try-scoring opportunities, which at any other given day they would have scored. I think Beauden Barrett, missed one penalty, off memory. It's not as though they didn't have chances to win it in other parts of the game. So, yes, that decision ultimately may have cost them at the end. However, in saying that, they wouldn't have been in that position in that time of the game had they finished off their chances. A little bit about those guys who I sort of highlighted in my last video I thought could have been potential weaknesses for his All Blacks team. Let's start off with Jordie Barrett at fullback. He's just started his first test for the All Blacks. What a game that guy had. What an absolute storm of a game he had for his first test. He set up a try and he scored on it as well. He could well be the long-term replacement for Ben Smith at 15 for the All Blacks. I mean, Ben Smith's getting, I think he's 31 now, so he's going to get into that stage of his career. Jordie Barrett is only 20. He's got 10, 12, 15 years at the top level, and he could be a world-class fullback if he keeps going the way that he's going. He was awesome. Leonard Brown played well, ball in hand. He did well to set up Surveyor on the left. I think he struggled defensively against Jonathan Davies. He actually played really well in the lead up to Jordie Barrett. Defensively, he struggled at times against Jonathan Davies. Jonathan Davies was the Lions' most potent attacking weapon in that backline. And Leonard Brown, he did struggle at times. Laumape, as I've been told to say it, he did okay. Not quite the same impact as he had in the last game, but he actually did okay. He's still got a lot to learn at that level, I believe, but he could well be there. Again, Sonny Bill's sort of getting to that 30, 31-year-old, kind of status, and it's not long before they'll start to look at replacements for him, particularly 2019 World Cup. Sonny Bill might be there, might be playing league, might be boxing, might be playing AFL, netball, I don't know what he's doing. But anyway, they were going to look at a replacement for him, and Laumape did not do the chances any harm in that game. Aaron Farrell, disappointing first quarter for sure. He certainly played better as the game went on, obviously landed that crucial penalty. That's pretty far out as well, so I thought Elliot Daly would take it, but he went for it, so that's good stuff. The more I watched Farrell and Sexton play together, the more I sort of understood what was going on, and having Farrell at 12 and Sexton at 10 allowed Sexton to play a lot flatter and get the bigger ball runners onto the ball flatter, closer to the game line. I thought that having Farrell at 12, Farrell would probably be the main disputer, and it would mean a lot more ball going a bit deeper. It happened at times, but it didn't go as deep as I thought it was going to. And the Lions actually didn't use too much ground. And actually, Jonathan Davies made some good runs, and they actually made a lot of breaks out wide. They had a lot of success out wide. The All Blacks had similar success out wide, and I'm not sure why, but the Lions were defending really narrow. They're defending narrow. Whether they were worried about Lamape running straight, they were worried about him. I think they might be worried about Julian Savea coming off his wing and his inside channels. They just defended narrow. They got caught out wide a few times. One of them was Geordie Barrett's try. I don't know why they were so narrow, but anyway, by the by. Sal Warburton, he was everywhere, and he definitely showed that Gatland was right to show faith in him. His work at the breakdown was phenomenal. I think the Lions' overall defence probably negate the need for, say, Tipuric to be in there, perhaps, but I would have liked to see Tipuric play some sort of role in these test matches, but it just wasn't to be. But we all know about the game. I think a 15-all draw, maybe the All Blacks could have won that game and perhaps should have. Not by a lot. Even if they did, not by a lot. But I think the All Blacks are starting to learn it's not about what it should have been. It's not about what should have been. It's about what was and what actually happened. And I think they've learned that if you're not taking your chances, you might not win. This is a funny thing to say about an All Blacks team, but normally All Blacks teams are extremely clinical. This one, yes, they scored twice, but they weren't that clinical. They missed a few opportunities. I think that this test series was really, really good for them. They got a few of the younger guys coming through that we highlighted in the last video, and it's going to show them what sort of level they need to get up to. The Lions team are not Australia. They're not South Africa, they're not England, Ireland, Wales individually. They're a collection of the best players from the Northern Hemisphere. And it's a real kickstart to New Zealand and these younger guys. Okay, actually, you know what? This is the sort of level we need to get to beat these players. If these guys are pushing us this hard at home, how hard is it going to be when we get up to there? So I think that's actually really good for New Zealand rugby to have that result. They might not feel it right now, but I think it is a benefit to their team and their squad as a whole to get this result, then it would be to blow the Lions away 3-0, because what would they have learned from that? I think it'll make them a better team. I think it will really help them on their path to 2019. The Lions, I'm going to make a bit of a separate video on this, dedicated to itself, but the Lions, it will talk about the Lions dying and the concept not being, you can't continue sort of concept in the modern age with professionalism and all that kind of thing, long seasons. I think this, with every passing tour, the Lions brand is getting stronger. You look at the support that was out in New Zealand. I mean, both to the ground on Saturday night, and indeed most of the games actually, with red shirts. You look at the interest. I mean, the interest in the UK was massive. All the Brits I know in Australia, everyone was interested in this. They can't let this die. The club owners in the UK are fighting against it because obviously their star players are not really getting a break. But without things like the Lions Tour, which is probably, this game on Saturday was up there with the World Cup final 2011. Without these sort of tours, grassroots rugby is not going to survive. Can you imagine the lift in interest now in domestic rugby because of what the Lions have achieved? If that Lions Tour hadn't taken place, it would just be next off the rank for the club rugby scene, and it wouldn't really grow. But look, I think the Lions here to stay, as I said, neither do on that. Okay, let's focus a little bit on the All Blacks. What next for the All Blacks? Well, they have a chance very soon to make amends in the Rugby Championship. I think they'll feel a bit disappointed in this series not to have won it from their point of view. I think they expect to win every game that they play, and that's a fantastic mentality to have, and I think it's a right mentality to have. It's probably part of the reason why they've been so successful and probably the best international team of any sport in the world, consistently winning. I can't see South Africa, I can't see Argentina, I certainly can't see Australia stopping these guys in the Rugby Championship. They're going to be blitzing them, and they've shown they have a little bit more strength and depth than I initially thought. So yes, they'll be extremely hard to handle. But I kind of wonder a little bit that if they were going to the Northern Hemisphere on a bit of a tour, playing England, Ireland, Wales in particular, would they have that success? How would these individual nations go against New Zealand? Because I'm thinking that when New Zealand come and tour next November, they're not playing England, but they're playing Ireland, they're playing Wales, I think. They're not going to have it all their own way. These players have gone down to New Zealand now and got a result, and they've shown that they can compete, and they need to bring that confidence back to their home nations now. The Irish players have had great results against New Zealand in the last 18 months. The English players are going to be more confident than ever, and they've already got probably a team that's already challenging for 2019 World Cup. But back to the All Blacks, it's only going to get a lot better for them, and that's saying something because this All Blacks team is already good. It's only going to get better. Going forward with my channel, guys, now this Lions tour is over, I'm going to make a Lions future video. I'm also going to concentrate on the Rugby Championship, see how that goes. I'm also going to do a country by country analysis of how they're getting on, starting with Australia, Argentina, and just working my way down. So guys, thank you very much for all your support, all the comments during this tour. It's much appreciated. Always love hearing from you guys, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Keep it coming, guys. New Zealand, better luck next time. If you like the video, give it a like, subscribe for more, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.